I once read that the moment you give women the vote is the moment your country starts to fall. When I first read that, I thought it was misogynistic nonsense. How dare you say something so offensive to women? But seeing the West as it is today, I've come to understand it. Many women who hear that will of course be quick to take offence, but it's not so much an attack on women as it is an attack on feminism and all its offshoots. We are of course referring to wokeness, political correctness and outrage culture, all of which are products of feminism and the emotional female mind. But when we talk of male and female, we don't just refer to men and women, but the primordial forces that form the cosmos. Taoists call these forces yin and yang. Yang represents strength and logic, yin represents softness and sensitivity. So it's not so much women we're targeting here, but unchecked feminine energy, which men are just as influenced by. The West as it is today is a result of unchecked feminine energy, or unchecked feminism. Feminism is the seed that began the decline. It was the original social justice cause. Because in order to remain relevant once women were able to enjoy the same freedoms as men, feminism began spreading from one cause to the next, seeking to defend every discriminated group from feminism's greatest enemy, the white male. This first began with other racial groups, then to homosexuals, then to transgenders, then to immigrants, and so on. And when no underdogs are left to defend, feminists will simply invent one in order to stay relevant. Enter the non-binary genders, transgender kids, and so on. Violent anarchist groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter are extensions of feminism. They are movements born out of feelings before logic. They are movements born of the female mind. The radical left hysteria that's caused so much death and destruction over recent years is an offshoot of feminism and the yin polarity. Wokeness, progressivism, cancel culture, all born of the feminine's emotions before logic view of the world. So when we say the moment you give women the vote is the moment your country starts to fall, what it really means is that your country falls once you put feelings before logic. Now, this might seem to suggest that we regress women's freedoms back to 1950s housewife status, which isn't true at all. The challenge of our time lies with men, and this is the other side of the equation. The rise of feminism has simultaneously led to a decline in masculinity. It's made men believe that quote-unquote manliness belongs to a bygone era. It's made them believe that being weak and submissive somehow equates to higher intelligence. You know the type. Fascism's wrong, man. What would the people of Glastonbury think? Student hipster yuppies who believe that with enough hugs you can solve any problem. Weak men are ultimately the issue here. Without the strength and logic that comes with the yang polarity, without strong men to keep it in balance, feminism will continue to run amok, inventing new underdogs to get outraged over once their previous underdog gains equality. Ultimately, it's men who must learn to become strong again, take back the reins and cultivate the masculinity that feminism castrated. Man's biological instinct is one of strength and logic. The STEM fields were born of and pioneered by the male mind. The only reason anything exists, whether a handheld gadget or a space station, is because men built it. Women are not driven by the same curiosity. Their biological instincts have not demanded it from them. A quick look at your average female gossip magazine is a good indicator of where the average woman's interests lie. Apply these gender differences to national governance and you can see why migrant Mohammed's sob story is all it took for Angela Merkel to abolish borders, condemning indigenous Europeans to minority status by 2060. All it took was one female politician to not see beyond her own feelings. Ultimately, this one decision to give women the vote set into motion a chain of events, leading to the multicultural, anti-white, anti-male shit show that the Western world's become. It all began in believing that the female human was equal in physical and mental capacity to their male counterparts, which simply isn't true. Yes, women being childbearers fulfill the most important and sacred role of all. But in reality, man's capacity for logic, wisdom, philosophy, science, technology and foresightedness exceeds that of the female. Until I meet a woman who wants to talk about space travel the way she talks about Love Island, I'll stand by that statement. So, how does a man cultivate masculinity? First and foremost, he needs to exercise. Any exercise will do, but lifting weights is most effective. In the prehistoric world, physical strength was a man's most valuable asset and nothing has changed. Lift weights, learn to fight, do nofap to raise testosterone, and be politically incorrect in thought, word and deed. Because believe it or not, there was once a time where people spoke more freely, where people of all colours could laugh at casual racist jokes and not throw a toddler tantrum. The primary variable between then and now is a hyper-feminised society that's driven by knee-jerk emotions rather than logic and common sense. Sadly, the war on masculinity has been deliberate. Across all forms of media, from TV shows to Hollywood, men are portrayed as weak, bumbling fools. The action heroes of old have been phased out in favour of diverse casts as if to herald the end of the strong white male. From talks of a black or female Bond, Disney's hyper-woke Star Wars or Amazon's Lord of the Rings, the entertainment industry is working overtime to engineer the West into a Marxist tranny state. The Luciferian paedophile global elite that secretly pull the strings know that weak men, neutered of their role as protectors and defenders, will be less likely to resist their demographic and ethnic replacement. 3,500 channel crossings occurred in July 2021 alone, 10,000 for the year so far. We're at replacement level migration here. But globalists know that weak men will be totally cool, man, with becoming racial minorities in their own homelands. I mean, can't be fascist now, can we?
The world's moved on, Commander Bond.
You were 00?
2 years. So stay in your lane.
History will look upon this time as the Great Emasculation. When all's said and done, when all the invented genders come and go, when the soft cosmopolitans are conquered by strong, unfeminised third world migrants, when all the limp-wristed sentimentality has had its time, nature will correct itself as it's always done. It'll cull the weak, reward the strong, and realign society to its pre-woke, pre-feminised, pre-politically correct days. Until then, enjoy the decline. As always, if anyone's been affected by any of the issues raised in this video, I honestly couldn't care less. If you like my work and want to support me, please pick up a copy of my book, The Nofap Success System, which addresses the crisis of masculinity facing the West and what to do about it. Links below the video, and thanks for watching.